your own, assumption on that play-in tournament, whether you like it or you don't, whether you think it's the right thing to do because it keeps teams below, the teams that are not obviously in the thick of things continuing to play through this by the time the season is over. They're 16 games below 500. They have continued to explain to us that they are not a playoff team, but we still held out hope because you thought they could maybe sneak into this play-in tournament. But there was a stat spectrum put up right when I started the postgame show. They're 10-28 since January 7th. 10-28 since January 7th. So that says it all right there. If you want to be a part of the Pete's Out Lakers postgame show, you can feel free to call in 877-710-ESPN. 877-710-ESPN. So if you're just leaving Crypto.com Arena, or if you're out driving around, you want to give your thoughts on the Lakers, you can always feel free to as well. And we're also live on all our social media platforms. You can feel free to call in as well. 129-118, the final score. I know we don't always get to watch Nikola Jokic on a night-in, night-out basis. I don't really know how to describe this dude. 38, 18, 6, 3 steals, 2 block shots, 15-22 from the field. Pretty much does whatever he wants to do. It really is. You could tip your cap to the other team when you see one of the best players in the world, and Jokic showed why he's one of the best players and probably most likely will win MVP. I know coming into the pregame show earlier this afternoon with Michael, the NBA.com, I think it was Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. That's the way they rank the top 3. We'll see how it all plays out. Anthony Davis on the other side of it, 28 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 3 block shots, 11 of 25 from the field. He played 35 minutes for the Lakers. He's so impactful, yet you could tell he's just not healthy. You could tell that ankle is bothering him, which I think adds another wrinkle of whether you're going to, obviously have Anthony Davis the rest of the way, what games you'd have him available, and also presents a question for LeBron as well. Okay, need a break from the everyday? Well, fans, it might be your lucky day, because today Fantasy Springs Resort Casino is giving away a 2-night stay, plus dinner and golf, or bowling for 2. Make any day your lucky day. Book now at FantasySpringsResort.com. We'll take some of your phone calls here in just a couple of minutes, but I do want to get a chance to listen to Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. Here's Vogel on the Lakers' loss. This is their 6th loss in a row.
Frank, what did you think the difference was down the stretch after you had built the lead early in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, just we didn't get enough stops. I think the number one thing is our defense on Joker. Give him credit. He played a hell of a game, hell of a second half. We had some opportunities to get him in foul trouble, and the refs didn't blow the whistle. Allowed him to play more freely, and we didn't have enough answers for him down the stretch.
With the math becoming now increasingly difficult, Frank, do you still have the same approach?
Can't worry about the math. Worry about the next game. Learn lessons from this game, take him to the next, and hopefully get a win against Phoenix.
Right, as much as you guys were overcoming the very real challenge of playing without LeBron James, the guys who were in there were things like turning the ball over under your own basket, fouling at the end of the half, missing layups. Do you feel like there was some level of correctable mistakes that led to the loss?
Yeah, you got to finish all those plays. You got to finish at the basket. The way we closed out the half was disappointing. We made an incorrect help and gave up a 3, and then we fouled the guy taking a heave. Those are mistakes that get you beat. But I do believe that the guys that were in there competed their asses off. And I was proud of their fight. And it sucks we can't get over the damn hump and put a W on the board when we need it. But our guys' spirit is really pure, and they're fighting a good fight. We just keep falling short.
Frank, what did you see specifically from AD in that sense? It looked like he was warming up in the tunnel between shifts, and also was there any thought to putting him on Joker more as the game hit kind of?
Well, we did put him on Joker down the stretch. Dwight wanted to eat minutes up with Dwight, but Dwight, Joker causes all kinds of matchup problems. With his ability, his unique skill set. His ability to roll the basket, post, stretch somebody like Dwight out to the 3-point line, and create switch confusion, with his, what we call our veers. So, credit him, but we tried a number of different things on him and weren't able to slow him down.
And just go back to AD, just sort of him gutting it out.
Yeah. Look, he's doing everything he can. The longer he stays out there, the more sore the foot is, and you see him wincing and you see him struggling, and we're trying to use him as much as we can without overdoing it, and understanding that some of those finishes, Dave was talking about at the rim, he's not quite 100%, but he's giving us everything he can. He's playing with a lot of heart. I'm proud of him. We're just keep falling short.
Frank, I think before the game, Bill asked you kind of about fourth quarters and mentioned continuity as a factor. I'm curious, how much of it do you think is just straight fatigue? The fatigue of having tight margins for error for 48 minutes, for every mistake seeming like it gets kind of exploited. Just kind of throw.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to put a finger on it. It's a little bit of everything. Maybe it's a little bit of fatigue. Guys not having their AD doesn't quite have his legs under him yet. Continuity, playing teams that are probably better than us in a lot of situations, and we have a lot to overcome. The margin for error is slim, and we have to figure out a way to get over the hump.
Frank, obviously the frustration of not getting wins is paramount, but I'm sensing like some real pride on your part with the fact that these guys are competing and that you got that kind of performance in a game without LeBron. What's that experience like for you as a coach? I mean, obviously wins how everybody gets judged, but I mean, can you leave here, with pride? Is pride the right word for like how these guys?
It is the right word. And what's it like? It sucks. It sucks telling these guys every game, proud of you, good effort. We lost. So it's not fun, but it could be worse. If things were unraveling. Our group has stayed together. They're putting in a good fight. Their attitude has been wonderful in terms of just like working together to get this thing right. And it's just disappointing to come in and just keep saying we fell short.
Frank, Russ was very, very efficient tonight. What was it like to see him play with such force and such determination? Force and determination.
Russ has been great. I'm proud of Russ. He's leading us. LeBron goes out, AD's out, like he's always in there. And he's very engaged in the game plans and the intelligence piece of what needs to happen on coverages and offensive action, and he's doing everything he can, for this franchise and for our group to try to get over the hump. So I'm proud of Russ.
Frank over here. Austin had been starting for the past month or so, and then obviously didn't play the last couple of games. I know last game you said that was kind of a matchup thing. So was that the case again tonight? Or I know he hadn't been shooting the ball well for the past month or so as well. Was that kind of part of it?
A little bit of everything. I think, Austin has played really well for us this year. When you're losing as much as we're losing, you got to look at different things. I mean, he has struggled to shoot the ball of late, and he has shown some nights, a little bit of rookie fatigue, if you want to call it that. I don't have a lack of confidence in him, but we looked at Avery as a change up, because we've been losing. He played really well the other night, so Avery's getting those minutes now.
All right, that's Lakers head coach Frank Vogel right there. We'll do a couple things when we come back. We'll get a chance to hear from Russell Westbrook. We'll take your phone calls. Nuggets over the Lakers, 129-118, the final score. Stay right here. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Don't miss Magic Buck Johnson. Yes, Magic Johnson, former Laker, Hall of Famer. My buddy, Monday morning at 9 a.m. on my show, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Magic with us. Monday at 9 a.m. on 710 ESPN.
What's up, gang? Clinton Yates here. We're going to be out at BW3's in Burbank on Monday starting at 1 o'clock, leading up to the national championship game. Your boy, Mason, a lot of prizes, a lot of fun. Also, I'm writing Game of Games that day, so make sure you tune in. ESPN 710. We'll see you on Monday.
Postgame show. Highlights from tonight's Lakers game and your reaction on the Lakers line. Powered by Pizza Hut. Try the new Detroit style from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers Postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Alan Sliwa.
Today's player of the game is presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Nikola Jokic, 38 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 block shots, 15 to 22 from the field. Potentially the MVP of the 2021-2022 season. Shows a little bit of everything of what he has, what he does on a night-in, night-out basis. Denver over the Lakers, 129-118, the final score. Let's take a couple phone calls here. If you're out driving around, you want to be a part of the show, Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show. Let's go to Phil in Van Nuys. Phil, what's going on, man? Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just calling in to say, though, the play-in tournament is for these last bits of teams, to scrap in and keep fighting for the whole year, and I love it. I love the play-in tournament, and I was looking forward to the Lakers making the playoffs, at least making the play-in. But after this whole season, I don't think they deserve it. I think that they sort of made it in. Watching them, scrap around for a little bit, I don't know. The only reason they would make it is for LeBron, but at this point, they don't deserve to make that either. So that's all I called in to say. It's unfortunate. Every time I listen to the radio, they're leading. They might be down. You can listen 20 minutes later, and it's game over. So,
yeah, you're right. Phil, thank you for calling in, bud. You're right. I mean, Friday night, let me use that as an example. Lakers took I think they were up 5 or 6, a few minutes left in the fourth quarter. They find a way to lose. This afternoon, I mean, the game was close. At one point, Lakers went up by 9, but it felt like they were in control. Game is close, kind of back and forth with Denver. A few minutes left. You look up there, you're like, they're down 8, they're down 9, they're down 10. That's certainly been the theme all season long. And, when you say the Lakers don't deserve to make the playoffs, I mean, I don't know how to describe this, but let me put the teams that are below 500. Let me put this in context. The Clippers are 38-40, 8th place. If there wasn't a play-in tournament, they'd obviously make the playoffs, and they would have a 3-4 game cushion, something like that, on the Pelicans. They haven't had Kawhi all season long. PG missed some time, but they haven't had Kawhi all season long. They still hovered around 500. If you go look at the Eastern Conference, Brooklyn's in the 10th spot, 40-38. No excuse for Brooklyn to be that far, but you could say, okay, Kyrie wasn't able to play in the home games, and they had to figure out Ben Simmons, who didn't play, James Harden. They had to figure out that whole trade that they eventually did. They obviously have underperformed, and there's no sugarcoating it. But the 8th, 9th, and 10th spot are everybody's over 500. Who the Lakers are fighting with, the Pelicans are 9 games below 500. The Spurs are 13 games below 500, and that's still not good enough to get in the play-in tournament. So I think that says it all of what you would describe. Do they deserve to be in the playoffs? Of course they don't. Of course they don't. And, we could point the finger. We're going to probably do that all offseason anyways. But do they deserve to be there? Of course they don't. All right, a couple more calls here. Let's go to Mitch in New Jersey. Mitch, appreciate you calling in all the way on Jersey. What's going on?
How you doing, Alan?
Good, man.
Yeah, I agree. They don't. Yeah, good show. If they get healthy, they could be dangerous. But I don't like this playing game. It's almost like when they expanded to 68 teams in the NCAA tournament. And do you think any chance that the Lakers can somehow trade for a first-round pick I know they don't have theirs, but deal with somebody.
Mitch, appreciate you calling in. So the notion of if they get healthy, I think we could put that out the window because that ain't happening. Even AD playing this afternoon, look, he was impactful. He had really nice numbers. Look at his facial expression during, I don't know how many different times during the game. You could tell the guy's not going. And I'm not saying that you have to be 100%, but you could tell the ankle is still bothering him. So they're not getting healthy before the season ends. And, oh, by the way, there's only 4 games left. So it's not like they have a 3-game – it's not like this is flipped. They have a 3-game cushion on the Spurs with 4 games left to go. It's the other way around. All they have to – if Spurs win this afternoon, tip-off's going to be in 8-9 minutes in San Antonio. They take on a dreadful Portland Trailblazers team that has literally said we are punting. We want nothing to do with the playing tournament. They are interested in going out and getting a draft pick. The Lakers season could mathematically be done by Tuesday if the Spurs win tonight and the Lakers lose against the Suns. So let's stop with the if they get healthy thing. About trading for a first-round pick. They have so many questions this offseason, and I think the biggest question is, do you still believe you can win a championship? And do you have faith that your main key players will be around enough as far as health goes to truly compete for one? That's going to be the number one question. Then you could figure out everything else after that. Ken in Newport Beach. Ken, thank you for calling in.
Hi, Alan. Well, the debacle is over, and I guess I can start to relax. One of the things that I don't understand about this team and the coaching staff is basketball IQ. I look at the IQ of the Clippers and Ty Lue, who could have been a Laker coach, is very high. I look at Dallas and Jason Kidd, extremely high. Then I look at some of the players on this team. THT was a pretty good player last year. They gave him $10 million and didn't take Caruso. This year, his basketball IQ is under 1. He makes mistake after mistake. The same thing with Monk. Monk is a talented player. He had 5 turnovers and ridiculous plays and fouling somebody with 2 seconds. At the end of the season, when your team's basketball IQ is lower than when you started the season, isn't that an indictment? And by the way, I read a stat where the Lakers had a chance in the fourth quarter this year to win 31 games that lost all 31 of them. Doesn't that tell you something about the current Laker coaching staff?
Ken, appreciate you calling in. I don't know what stat that is. I know Dave McMenamin brought that up in the pregame show. It's a clutch stat or something like that, where in the final X amount of minutes of a game, and the Lakers seems like on the wrong end of it most of the time. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Good teams find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose. Lakers are very creative in finding ways to lose so far this year. All right, let's take a quick listen. Here's Russell Westbrook, who ended up with 27, 10, and 7, 11 of 15 from the field. Russell Westbrook on the 11-point loss to the Denver Nuggets.
Hey, Russ, Frank said you can't worry about the mathematics of potentially getting into the play-in from this point forward. You just have to go one day at a time, try to get a win at Phoenix. How are you approaching it? And assume it'd be similar given what you said all season.
You got to take one day at a time. Go out and compete to the best of your ability. As long as you leave it on the floor, whatever the results are, you can live with it. At least that's how I feel.
Russ, I think we've probably heard you say the words "figure it out" 3,000 times this year. I'm wondering specifically, I know that's a global philosophy, applies to everyone, but specifically, what have you seen from the coaching staff and specifically Frank with their efforts to try to constantly figure this out and the changes they've made and adjust? What's that been like?
They've done things that they felt was best for our team, and I'll leave it at that.
Russ, how hard is it to reconcile the effort you guys give, especially a night like tonight? You and AD both have, pretty good games, and the team, comes out with a lot of energy again and can't get the result. Is it difficult for you, kind of when you look back on the game, to live with that?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what happened throughout the game, we didn't get a chance to close it the way we wanted to, and it's a tough one. But like I said, you can live with if you leave it on the floor, and I feel like guys played hard. and gave the best effort, and we can live with that.
Russ, over this last stretch, effort and that stuff has been really consistent. The team has played and been in tight games through, 3 quarters, and then it kind of fades. Not the effort, but the other team is able to push past in the fourth quarter. How much of that do you think is emotional, physical fatigue? How much of that is whatever it might be?
Sometimes it's that. Sometimes execution. Sometimes it's just getting good shots, and sometimes getting stops, not fouling. It's a lot of different variables. I can't pinpoint one thing. Every game is a little bit different. So kind of varies.
Is it frustrating that the script is so familiar? Is it frustrating that the script is just so familiar?
Yeah, it can be. Especially when you're on the floor and watching it.
Russ, I think there's been a recognition this year that your availability has been a significant contributing factor to help this team. That said, what's it mean to you to have a teammate like Anthony Davis play when it doesn't seem like he's 100% and try to make himself available for his teammates?
Yeah, I mean, he's pushing through whatever he's going through this time of year. There's so much nicks and bruises on all our bodies in this time where we fight as a team, and he obviously has been out for some time and coming back and trying to get his own rhythm, getting himself into shape and making sure his ankle's okay. But just seeing him out and having an ability available to be able to play is something good that we can try to use to give us a boost of energy, especially going into the next game.
All right, that's Russell Westbrook right there on the Lakers' 11-point loss to the Denver Nuggets. When we come back, I want to give Laker fans an opportunity to continue to voice their opinion. So if you want to be a part of the show, 877-710-ESPN. We'll look at some scores from around the NBA. We'll take a look at the final 4 games on the Lakers schedule. We'll do all that coming up next. Stay right here. Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Don't miss Magic Buck Johnson. Yes, Magic Johnson, former Laker, Hall of Famer. My buddy, Monday morning at 9 a.m. on my show, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Magic with us. Monday at 9 a.m. on 710 ESPN.
What's up, gang? Clinton Yates here. We're going to be out at BW3's in Burbank on Monday starting at 1 o'clock, leading up to the national championship game. Your boy, Mason, a lot of prizes, a lot of fun. Also, I'm writing Game of Games that day, so make sure you tune in. ESPN 710. We'll see you on Monday.
Tonight's Lakers game and your reaction on the Lakers line.
Try Pizza Hut's Double It Box. 2 medium, 1 topping pizzas, so they can choose what they want, and you get the taste you enjoy. Only at PizzaHut.com.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Alan Sliwa.
Points in the Paint all season long is sponsored by Vista Paint. Right now, local residents can take 40% off on factory direct high-quality Vista Paint products. A Vista Paint team member will show you how. Locally owned, manufactured, and operated since 1956, Vista Paint. Lakers win the points in the paint battle 68-60. They lose the game 129-118, the final score. Lakers not mathematically eliminated from making the play-in tournament, but let me make it very simple of where the Lakers stand right now. Spurs got a game that's about to tip off here against the Portland Trailblazers. If Spurs win tonight against the Blazers and the Suns beat the Lakers on Tuesday, then this season, which is, in my opinion, the most disappointing season in Lakers history, Michael and I were talking about that earlier today, will officially be over. Officially in the sense that it can't go past 1 week from today, which is April 10th. I can't really fully describe how many different things have gone wrong for the Lakers, but also just point out that they're not a good basketball team. They're not a good team. There is no cohesiveness. There is no it's not a team that's connected. It's not a team that, if you want to use examples of other teams that have had really good players that have been injured for most of the season, Denver's one of those teams. Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray. Clippers is one of those teams, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. The Warriors have had to deal with injuries, players in and out. The problem with the Lakers, they're so dependent on two guys that if one of those two players are out, they're obviously they struggle. And even when both of those players are in, like Friday night against the Pelicans, you're not locked to beat a team that's 8, 9, 10 games below 500. So that's where the Lakers stand today. Let's take a couple more quick calls here. Let's go to Terry in the LBC. Terry, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, thinking, I have one thought, and I'm thinking the cupboard is bare. A lot of times we keep saying, well, come back next year and things are going to get better, but we don't have any picks. LeBron's not getting any younger. The downside of, and AD hasn't shown that he can stay healthy throughout his career. So, and then I'm thinking, okay, we're going to need a new coaching staff. Or you assume we're going to get a new coaching staff. But what coach is actually going to be able to come in and be able to absorb the pressure? I don't know if they would deal with Mark Jackson because I think he's represented by Clutch. I hear these talks about Quinn Snyder. But, again, what's the roster construction going to be? Because, really, at some point, we keep saying this, and LeBron has proven it false, but he has been injured a lot. At some point, he's older. He's on the downside. And AD, like I said, he continues to be hurt, so we really can't rely. In my opinion, it might be time to look at trying to get what you can for both of them, because you still have to the onus of them being good is the top two players. If LeBron and AD have any injuries or not in the lineup consistently, the Lakers are going to struggle no matter what players you bring in.
Terry, appreciate you calling in. Let me jump in real quick. So the questions that you're bringing up, they're viable today. They'll be much more viable a week from today, because a week from today, the Lakers season will be over. Again, barring some type of a miracle, the Lakers season a week from today will be over. And those questions that you're bringing up, those are fair questions. And I don't have an answer for it, right? What will the strategy be in the offseason? Are you still accommodating to LeBron and Anthony Davis? And do you still feel like, hey, we can still get one more crack at this? A year ago, that didn't sound crazy. A year and a half ago, they won an NBA championship. But today, sitting here and depending on a 37 by next season, a 38-year-old LeBron James, and Anthony Davis that we've seen in and out of the lineup, he's just as great as Anthony Davis is. No one's questioning what a great player he is. Availability, that's what it's going to come down to with Anthony Davis. So I present those two questions right there. And then on top of that, the Russell Westbrook piece this offseason will also be another major question mark. The coaching staff, like you mentioned, that would be a major question mark. This is not a team where you're just looking at it and saying, hey, we're a piece away. Where I think last offseason you felt like you might just be a piece away from retooling this whole thing. There's a lot of questions there, and they're not small questions. They're obviously questions that could determine the present and the future for the Lakers. Okay, I want to go through a couple of scores around the NBA here real quick, and then I want to point out a couple things in the standings. So Nuggets beat the Lakers 129-118. Been talking about that. There is a couple good games going on right now. The Cavs and the Sixers, that has some influence there on the Eastern Conference, 52-47 Cavs. in the second quarter. Mavs already went into Milwaukee and won an impressive game against the Bucks, 118-112. Heat will take on the Raptors a little bit later today. And then the game that, I mentioned Laker fans will have their eyes on is going to be this Blazers-Spurs game, which is tipping off any minute now if it hasn't already. And then the final game tonight, Pelicans and the Clippers, and that game at Crypto.com Arena. So two teams. That could actually be one of the play-in tournament games where if Pelicans win their first game and let's say Timberwolves win their first game, then those two teams will go at it. So those are the scores around the NBA. As far as the standings go, you cannot look at the standings right now around the league and see any matchup that is not interesting. You also can't look around the league and really have nothing's been confirmed yet with one week left to go. I know that the only teams locked at this point, you have the Phoenix Suns and the Memphis Grizzlies that are locked. After that, it still seems like a lot of things are open, including the play-in tournament. Who's in? What position are you in? Unfortunately for the Lakers, they're becoming less and less a part of the mix, not officially, but obviously less and less part of the mix. The Lakers' schedule, just to give everybody an idea as far as what the schedule looks like from here, 4 games left. You got the Phoenix Suns on Tuesday. You're at Golden State coming up on Thursday. Friday, Oklahoma City Thunder. Those are back-to-back games. That one's going to be home, the final home game. And then you close off the season a week from today against the Denver Nuggets. We don't know the health of Anthony Davis, the health of LeBron James for those games. I've mentioned a couple times. You could tell AD wasn't 100% healthy in this one as well. Okay, final thoughts when we come back. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Stay right here. Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Don't miss Magic Buck Johnson. Yes, Magic Johnson, former Laker, Hall of Famer. My buddy, Monday morning at 9 a.m. on my show, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Magic with us. Monday at 9 a.m. on 710 ESPN.
What's up, gang? Clinton Yates here. We're going to be out at BW3's in Burbank on Monday starting at 1 o'clock leading up to the national championship game. Your boy, Mason, a lot of prizes, a lot of fun. Also, I'm writing Game of Games that day, so make sure you tune in. ESPN 710. We'll see you on Monday.
This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show.
Highlights from tonight's Lakers game and your reaction on the Lakers line. Powered by Pizza Hut. Try the new Detroit style from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Alan Sliwa.
All right, next game coming up for the Lakers Tuesday night against the Phoenix Suns. By the way, quick reminder for tomorrow, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max will start their show at 6 a.m., and Magic Johnson's going to join their show at 9 a.m. So, of course, Magic will have his opinion on this Lakers team and looking at the reality of the situation for the Lakers, talking about how disappointing the season was, how disappointing the season is, and on top of that, the Lakers not being a part of the play-in tournament. which is all but over. Not mathematically, but all but over. You had to win these 2 games over the weekend. Lakers, instead of winning both of the games, they lost both of the games. So, obviously, this is incredibly disappointing. So, tomorrow at 9 a.m. right here on 710 ESPN, you'll hear Magic on with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. And then I'll follow Travis and I will do our show from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Let's go to Jordan in Santa Rosa. Jordan, thank you for calling in, bud.
Oh, hey, man, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to say, man, this year has been pretty rough, and they wasted a prime year of LeBron James. And I was just calling to see, and to get your thoughts, too. What do you think about maybe trading Anthony Davis in the offseason? See what you can get for him.
Appreciate you calling in. Thank you. It's funny. We the wasting LeBron's a prime LeBron year, it's funny to say that. You're not supposed to have a prime year at age 37. You should be winding down your career. You should be sitting on the bench and maybe playing 15 to 18 minutes a game. But LeBron is doing something that we've never seen before in the league. He's leading the league in scoring. Still needs 2 more games. He's got to play in 2 of the final 4 games to qualify to win the scoring title. I think got to hit 58 games. He's at 56. So we'll see what happens on that front. I think the piece about trading Anthony Davis, Travis and I were talking about this earlier in the week. The way I look at it is this. His value is it's low right now. Why is it low? Because his lack of availability. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, he's one of the best big men in the NBA. Now, there's other big men that pass him. We used to have conversations, hey, AD or Giannis. Now it's not a conversation anymore. Hey, AD or Embiid, not a conversation anymore. AD or Jokic, not a conversation before. I hesitate on the go look to shop Anthony Davis or go trade him away. The more this season plays out, I think as you're starting to think big picture, the question comes down to, do you think you could put together a roster with LeBron and Anthony Davis next season that will be competing for a championship? I don't have that answer for you. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where everything is on the table this upcoming summer, but I would rather try to get Anthony Davis healthy, let this big man do what he does. Do I think he can carry a team to an NBA championship as in he's the best player on a roster? No, I don't think that's him. I think you got to have a player. Okay, it was Bron and AD. They were able to do it together. You got to have somebody that's at the caliber of AD or better if you're going to be competing for a chip. All right, let's take a quick listen here. Here's Anthony Davis on the Lakers' 11-point loss to the Denver Nuggets.
He's speaking with Mike and the
throughout the game, just wondered what that was like for you, how you played through it, and what the plan is just as you go day to day now for the next couple of games.
Yeah, it was bothering me through the course of the game, start to finish. But let's say it's a time where we have to be able to fight through it. For me personally, to try to help the team gather these wins to keep the hopes alive of the getting the play in. So. Doing everything I could on the sideline to keep it warm, and then got a couple days before we play. Try to get it right. Do some treatment more today and then tomorrow, and get ready for Phoenix.
And just with you and the medical staff, what's the understanding of it as to making sure that you don't make it any worse versus expected soreness? How was that conversation?
I think they said I can't get any worse. I think, but. So once I hear that, then I'm, if I can't make it any worse, then it's just going out and making sure I'm comfortable, make sure the feels comfortable enough to go out there and play.
Kyle. That's okay. AD, I know you guys have had games like this, or have had games where you haven't shown up with the right urgency or the right effort, but another one tonight where it seems like the effort's there. You guys are kind of putting it all out there, and then in the fourth quarter, whatever happens, it kind of unravels. Do those losses feel different than other ones that aren't as close, or where you're not bringing the appropriate effort?
No, for sure. Fought extremely hard. The guys fought extremely hard today. Like I said, that fourth quarter, last 5, 5.5, 6 minutes, costly turnovers. I missed a couple layups. We missed some easy shots, and I made some tough ones. But, we made some costly turnovers. At the end, it was always the last 5 minutes. They kind of hurt us. But overall, like I said, the guys played extremely hard. We all did fought. We just got to do a better job closing out games, getting over that hump.
AD, it's yet another instance where you and LeBron being on the court together were short-lived. You got to play together against the Pelicans, and today you don't have him. How hard is it to be able to get a true representation of what you guys are as a team without you guys consistently being in there?
Yeah, we never did all year. I think us three being me, Brown, and Russ, we played 15, 21 games together. We didn't expect us to only have 21 games together, but just kind of been that year. Either I'm in or he's in. And the times we do play together, we look really good. And then, somebody's out of the lineup. So just kind of been that year. It's been tough not being able to fully reach our, potential as far as us three being on the floor and, seeing what we really could be. But with that being said, we also have enough to win basketball games. Even when he don't play or I don't play, as you've seen tonight, fought extremely hard. We were there. Let's say some costly plays at the end, last 4 or 5 minutes that kind of cost us the game. But we continue to fight this way. Just give ourselves a chance and see what happens.
Do you have a sense if you could have him on Tuesday? Do you have a sense if you could have him on Tuesday?
I have no idea. Hope so.
AD, what's this team's psychic like right now, and how do you guys maintain a good spirit considering where you are?
We move on to the next game. Like I say, it was, most importantly, we just wanted to make sure that we give ourselves a chance. We fought hard. We know the situation that we're in, especially with losing today. Excuse me. It's another must win, in Phoenix. Team that's playing well, but also can be beat. But the spirits are high. We're not one team that's going to fold, until it's all the way over. We got 4 games left, and our job's to try to go out and compete and win every one of those.
AD, even when you guys were healthy-ish for that blank earlier this year, it was always about what this team could be because continuity and things like that were getting worked out. Have you been able to kind of think about this team on a night-to-night basis, or have the questions in your mind about where this team is always sort of been big picture because of the goals and because of sort of the nature of the big picture issues that you guys had to face?
I think the biggest thing that I think about personally is what we could have been. If we stay healthy all year, what could we have been? Of course you got to figure out the kinks early on, but after it takes that 10, 12, 15, whatever amount of games to figure it out, you get close to all-star after all-star and you're rolling, you kind of feel like, okay, what could we have been if I was healthy all year, Brian was healthy, K-Nunn is healthy. You think about those things. We put this team together. We look really good on paper, but we haven't had a chance to reach that potential with guys being, in and out of the lineup. So the most frustrating part about, this season is just not being sure of what we could have been.
Haiti, what are the emotions around fighting so hard to get back onto the court and then just sort of the letdown and the stakes of the last 2 games?
It's basketball. As long as we're playing hard, there's no moral victories in this league, especially with us. The whole world want to see us lose, to be honest. So, but, my job is to be on the floor and help these guys win, and I think our spirit is very high in the locker room. We're going to continue to fight. But it's our job to go out there and give ourselves a chance. The 5 guys on the floor, no matter who it is. And like I said, all these guys have put in the work, put in the effort. Now it's just about trying to get over that hump. Hopefully guys come back in the lineup, LB, and we finish out these last 4 games strong and see what happens from there.
Last 3 questions for Johan, Bill, and
AD, you have 14 assists over your last couple games. What's been clicking for you from a playmaking perspective?
Just making reads. The guys have been moving the ball extremely well, cutting, getting in the right spots. And so when I make a move or have the ball, these guys are open. Whether it's double teams or me making a move and they're collapsing or helping. Just also just trying to get these guys going, knowing that later on I'll be one-on-one or have open looks, and just playing for these guys. I mean, these guys, like I say, putting the work, and we got to be able to trust them. And I want to let them know that I do trust them, no matter the situation. So giving these guys the ball, telling them to shoot, don't with no hesitation, and that's what they've been doing. I give them the ball and they've been making shots. So. It's my job as one of the leaders on the team to get everyone involved. And, these guys have stepped up, since I've been back on making shots alone.
AD, your tenure here has lined up with Frank's. You guys more or less came in at the same time with Frank. I'm curious how you've seen him navigate this year. It's obviously been so different from the first. They've all been different, but so different from the first 2. Yeah. How have you seen him navigate kind of the repeated challenges of this year, and how in what ways, if at all, has he been different to play for this year than those first 2 years?
I think first year we were healthy. And then last year and this year, we weren't. So, I mean, his coaching style changes, with who's in the lineup as far as plays, schemes, things like that. And, when you don't have myself or Bron in the lineup, then things change. So, I think that's the biggest difference, is not being able to coach, a full team, that we put together the last 2 years. Whereas our first year, we were extremely healthy and, we knew exactly what we were doing. Guys knew their roles and knew their minutes, rotations. But it changes game to game now with, depending on who's in and out of the lineup.
Mark, last question.
Hey, dude, two-part question here. I was wondering, what do you remember your reaction was a few years ago when you learned about the NBA's plan to have a play-in tournament? And now that you've been a part of that fight to the end these last 2 years, what do you think of the idea?
When they first announced it, I honestly don't remember. I know it's a big thing when the COVID hit in the hiatus, and I think Dame was like, give us a chance and things like that. But the last 2 years, we was in last year, fighting again this year, so I can't say I hate it because it gives us a chance to get in the playoffs and try to win the championship. So it's been good, but, be better if we're in it. If not, then I hate it. So.
All right, that's Anthony Davis right there. Obviously talking about, as Mark Medina asking the question about the play-in tournament. As of right now, it doesn't look like they're going to be in it. 3 games back behind the Portland Trailblazers, if you count, actually 2.5, Portland and San Antonio. San Antonio in the number 10 spot right now, 2.5 games in front of the Lakers. Spurs taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Lakers have another game coming up on Tuesday. But the way it looks now this season is all but a wrap until April 10th is the final regular season game for the Lakers. All right, a couple things to point out here. I'm back on tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Travis Rogers. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max will come on before us, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. 9 a.m. Magic Johnson will join their show to talk about the Lakers team. So I'm sure that's going to be a very interesting interview. We'll react to some of that as well. Our next broadcast, Tuesday night, Lakers in Phoenix. Tip-off at 7:30. Pregame show will start at 6 p.m. Thank you to everybody that called into the show, everybody on our social media platforms. Thank you to Michael Funches, Rebecca Womble, Carlos Saisu, and Wilbert Flores here internally. I'm Alan Slewa. This has been the Lakers postgame show, Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Basketball on ESPN LA is sponsored by Subaru of Glendale, the #1 Subaru dealer in America. Lakers basketball.
Delivered by the new Spicy Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut. A fiery fusion with layers of flavor. Only at Pizza Hut.